Good night, folks. Good night. I will be teaching on the training series tonight what Satan can and cannot do. Now, I will only be able to cover session one tonight, but tomorrow night, God willing, I am trusting that I will be able to complete and upload session two of this series. Okay? Well, so much for that. Let's begin. When speaking about what the devil can and cannot do, we need to go back to the book of Genesis when God first made man and woman and put them in the Garden of Eden, which was on the earth. In the book of Genesis, chapter 1 and verses 26 to 28, it is written, "And God said, Let us make man in our image after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth." So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. And God blessed them, and God said unto them, Be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. When God first made man and woman, then he gave them authority and dominion over the earth, to subdue the earth and to rule over the earth, and to tend and keep the garden which he made for mankind. He made man and woman stewards over the earth. A steward in biblical terms is someone who is appointed to oversee and manage the affairs and possessions of another. To fulfill this work and responsibility which God gave man and woman to do for him, he endowed and bestowed upon both the man and woman, mankind, authority and dominion to fulfill that mandate which he entrusted to them, to tend and keep the earth, and to rule over the earth, and to subdue the earth, and to have dominion over the whole earth. Since that time till now, God has never taken back that dominion and authority which he gave man and woman over the earth, simply because his purpose for placing man upon the earth is still required. God still requires man, both men and women, to be stewards and custodians over the earth. That commission has never changed. This is why the authority and dominion to fulfill that mandate has also never changed. God have never taken it back after this sin. Mankind still has the authority and dominion over the earth. Therefore, no entity or spirit which is not a human being can enter into the earth and do the earth and any human being in it harm. They will need permission from a human being to gain access to the earth and to operate on the earth and to become involved in the affairs of mankind on the earth. I want you to keep that in mind before I move on. Man and woman, mankind, they still have authority and dominion over the earth and no other being. Therefore, if any being is operating on the earth, they are doing so either illegally or because they are working in alliance with some human being who gave them permission to do so. I call this proxy authority, which is they are operating upon the earth through a human being or human beings who give them permission to do so through prayer and forging of covenants. A covenant in the Bible is a sacred spiritual agreement or promise between God and humanity or between Satan and humanity, and it often involves commitments and responsibilities from both parties. It establishes a relationship that is more profound than a mere contract, and it signifies a binding commitment to uphold certain principles and actions. In other words, if you do this for me, then I will do that for you, or I will do this for you. Now, both God and Satan and his kingdom of darkness want access to the earth. Yes, even God needs man's permission to enter the earth and work on man's behalf. This is so because God himself is the one who designed it like that. So, to get that access on the earth and to become involved in the affairs of mankind, in your personal affairs and my personal affairs, either one of those spiritual kingdoms need the permission from a human being to do so. That permission comes in the form of what we call prayer. There are two categories of prayer: one, the prayer of intimacy and worship, and two, the prayer of request. Request plural. I'm speaking here. requests plural. Now, human beings, when they are in trouble, have been known to ask through prayer either the kingdom of God or the kingdom of darkness for help through an immediate prayer at that time. And most times, once they get what they want, they may not pray again until they encounter some other problem which they need supernatural help for. However, when people pray often to either God or the devil at a specific spot, place, and time, they, without realizing it, have set up a prayer altar to whichever kingdom they are praying to. And if they were to make a covenant or covenants, now, do you remember what I said a covenant was? A covenant in the Bible is a sacred spiritual agreement or promise between God and humanity, or between Satan and humanity, and it often involves commitments and responsibilities from both parties. Now, if a man or woman were to make a covenant or binding promises to either the kingdom of God or the kingdom of darkness, they, through setting up prayer altars and forging of covenants, now automatically give that spiritual kingdom they are praying to and with whom they form covenants with increased legal access to their lives and the earth. And then working in and through those individuals, these spiritual beings are now able to exercise what I call proxy authority in that person's sphere of influences. That person's sphere of influences would include spheres like family, job, neighbors, community, friends, relatives, etc. Setting up prayer altars and making covenants with either spiritual kingdom, the kingdom of God, or the kingdom of darkness gives them access and legal rights to function on the earth, to affect the earth with their presence, doctrine, lifestyle, and kingdom. Okay, I'm going to stop here for now and continue with this training either tomorrow or this coming Tuesday, God willing. But before I do, please remember from this first training session on what Satan and the kingdom of darkness can and cannot do, that this is why Satan and his kingdom of darkness cannot enter into your home or life and interfere with you legally, unless you allow it through ignorance or unless you allow it by having unconfessed sin in your life. But tomorrow, God willing, I will continue along this path with part two of this training series: what Satan and his kingdom of darkness can and cannot do. All right, so until then, it will be bye for now, and God bless.